Hi friends, hope you are doing well. Today I'm going to talk about the STEM Ivy League. And essentially these are the 10 universities in the US which are top in the STEM disciplines, that is science, technology, engineering and math. Now of course you know that there are 8 universities which are known as the Ivy League universities. These are situated in the northeast of US. But some of these universities are more focused on STEM, but most of them are actually more focused on the liberal arts, humanities, law, and so on. So today's universities are the universities which are best in terms of STEM, and many people have opined that these are the universities which you should study in if you are somebody planning to do a STEM major, which is typically engineering or sciences. Now, not only you can do a degree here in terms of your bachelor's degree, but you can also think about doing your master's degree, your PhD degree, even postdoctoral research. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, interestingly, some of these universities are private, but some of these universities are also state universities. So remember that as far as the Ivy League is concerned, it is all private universities. They tend to be very selective. They are very small in terms of student size, but some of the STEM universities I'm going to tell you are public universities. They are pretty large. So if you are somebody who stays in the particular state concerned, that you can take advantage of the in-state tuition rates which are there in these universities. So let's begin with this list. So number one here is Caltech, and Caltech is located in Pasadena, California. It has got an admission rate of 8%. The average SAT score is 1560. Now, Caltech is very famous for institutions such as the Jet Propulsion Lab, and it's got a very strong department as far as the natural sciences are concerned. Number two is Harvard University. Harvard University is located in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's got an admission rate of 5% and the average SAT score is 1530. Now, of course, if you are applying for bachelor's degree, you need to give the SAT. If you are applying for master's or PhD degree, you will need to give the GRE exam in most cases. Number three on the list is Johns Hopkins University. This is located in Baltimore in Maryland. So this is a location pretty close to Washington, D.C. And this was the first research university in US. It has got an admission rate of 13% and the average SAT score is 1460. Now, Johns Hopkins is also famous for a medical school. Now, do remember that this list I am giving you is not in any specific ranking. It's just a random list. So all these universities are pretty good, but of course some are more renowned than others in terms of the brand name. So if you are somebody who is interested in the exact ranking, you can check out the QS ranking as far as the different universities are concerned. But I would say that all these universities are good. So if you are thinking of a set of universities to which to apply, if you are a STEM major, then these are the universities you can go for. The next in the list is Stanford University. This is located in California near San Francisco. Now, one of the things about Stanford University is that it has been the source of many startups which have later on become big companies. For example, Google, for example, Snapchat, Netflix, and so on. Of course, if you do not know, then Google owns YouTube. YouTube is something which you are using to listen to my video right now. Now, as far as Stanford University is concerned, it's got a very strong computer science program. It was one of the first computer science programs in the world. And today, what you see in terms of the dominance as far as the Silicon Valley region is concerned in the computer sciences, one can attribute it to Stanford University in some measure. So this is actually at the heart of Silicon Valley. So one of the advantages of studying in Stanford University is that you can get many jobs in that particular area. And also there is a kind of startup mindset here, which is certainly going to help you if you are in the startup mode in terms of your mindset. Now, let's look at the admission rate, that is 4.7%. The SAT score is 1465. This is the mean SAT score. Now, the next in the list is Georgia Tech in Atlanta in Georgia. Now, Georgia Tech is famous for engineering as well as computer science, typically more toward the engineering side of the equation. The admission rate is 23%, SAT is 1410. Now, Georgia Tech is a state university, so if you are somebody who is a resident of Georgia, you may get advantage in studying here. The next university is University of Texas at Austin, another state university, of course, located in Texas. So Austin, Texas is a very beautiful location. It's a nice place to study. It's also a place where many tech companies are actually situated. So that's something to keep in mind. There is a admission rate here of 37.5%. So admission, as you can see, both in Georgia Tech and Texas Austin is relatively easier than getting into Stanford or Caltech. Now the SAT score in Texas Austin is 1260, so that's a much more reasonable SAT score. Now let's look at the next university, and that's MIT, which is situated in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's got an admission rate of 7.2%. The SAT score is 1540 plus. And the top departments here are mechanical, aerospace, electrical, civil, and so on. So as far as MIT is concerned, it is very strong in the core engineering field. So I would certainly say, if you're somebody who is planning to study the aerospace engineering fields or mechanical engineering or civil engineering or any of these core disciplines, then MIT is the place to go. Of course, MIT has a huge advantage of having a huge brand name throughout the world. So whenever people think of very smart people in the engineering domain, they always think of MIT. Now, the next university is University of California, Berkeley. This is one more state university which is located in the Silicon Valley region. So being a public university, if you are somebody who is from the California system, you can get relatively low tuition if you study in UC Berkeley. Now UC Berkeley has some interesting programs such as a dual engineering and business degree. So you can look at this also. Again, being in Silicon Valley, the advantage of Berkeley also is that you can think about the startup type of systems here. So many people in UC Berkeley also start their own companies. They also are able to often work in different startups. Now, one of the advantages of going to UC Berkeley versus going to Stanford University, which is located in the same region, is that the tuition is going to be much lower, especially if you are a local resident in terms of California. So if you are somebody who is living in some other state, maybe you want your children to study in UC Berkeley, this may be one region actually to move to California. Most people are trying to move out of California because of various issues such as land costs, home prices, and so on. But some people may actually think of moving to California if they want their kids to study in UC Berkeley. Or if you are probably a precocious student who thinks that he wants to go to Berkeley, that may be also something you want your parents to consider. Now, the next university on my list is Princeton University. This is located in the broader New Jersey region in the US. And Princeton University is very famous in physics. For example, you had people like Einstein who came to this university and did a lot of their work there. So the physics department at Princeton has always been very known. Also the math department. And one thing you can do to get into Princeton is try to get an SAT score of about 1560. So that's the mean SAT score here. The admission rate is 6.4%. Finally, the last one on my list is University of Chicago with an admission rate of 7.9% and SAT score of 1505. So University of Chicago is also very good as far as math is concerned, as far as physics is concerned. So that's another university you can take a look at. Now, these 10 universities will give you a lot of different departments, lot of different professors to contact if you are interested in doing bachelor's degree, master's degree, or PhD degree. And certainly if you are somebody who is trying to get a postdoc, maybe you are planning to apply through the Fulbright Fellowship, or you are a person who is looking for the Humboldt Fellowship in US, then you can contact professors in these particular universities. Now, there are a plethora of places out there in the world where you can actually get full funding to spend some time doing research in any US university. So if you are able to get the J1 visa, you can do that. So these 10 universities will give you certain universities which you can target for your particular purpose. Now, I should mention before I close that you should do some research about these universities in terms of the location, because one of the things which has happened in the US is that these universities were often set up in the downtowns, for example, Chicago, near Atlanta, and so on. And many of these places have some level of crime which you need to keep in mind. So if you are planning to study in any of these universities which are located in the cities, then make sure you do some research, you select a good apartment to stay in. The nature of the communities of the cities changes very much depending on the zip code or the particular localized location which is there. So you should join some Facebook group, some WhatsApp group, and ask different students, for example, seniors, as to what are the good locations to stay in these particular places. So that's something which you need to keep in mind, because these universities are very renowned, but sometimes they may be located in places which are somewhat shady in nature. For example, Baltimore is a place which is known to have a lot of crime incidents and so on. So this was my take about the top 10 universities as far as STEM is concerned in the US. Now, there may be some debate about this particular list of universities, but this is one such list. There are many such lists out there, and these are the STEM Ivy League universities. So I hope this video is useful to you. I will put several videos and on the end screen which will help you discover more about STEM education, as well as a video about the Ivy League, which is actually the true Ivy League.